All right, it just ticked over to 12:15. So for the people that I haven't met before, my name is Travis, and I'll be doing the user group lunch and learn today for everyone. So as everybody knows, TransIT 7 is live. We've had some very positive, great feedback around the new updates, and I hope you're all enjoying it. So let's dive in. So today we're just going to go over some questions since the go live in December, just some of the updates, a tip of the month. There's also a bonus tip of the month and also a new TransIT education that we've just started to launch that will be unveiled later in the meeting today. So first up, we've had some questions from clients just in regards to some settings and some display issues. So we're going to go over why you might see a P1 deleted or a question deleted on your issues page and how you can fix that and why it's occurring. We're going to go over how you can delete a custom reference list. You actually can't delete it, but we'll go over the steps to reuse a custom reference list. And then another question that came in was just how to paste a step in above your first row in a module. So we'll go over that as well. And then some of the updates since go live, we've had quite a few. So we have removed all the click to add details. If you do see any in your scripts, please reach out to support and let us know. We've added in the ability to export a full test round report into Excel, and I'll show you how to do that. There is a couple of buttons or icons that you can use that are on your test rounds page and your test dashboard page that I'll show you. We've added the ability to mark roles for deletion. So if you do have a lot of roles that you don't use, you can now mark them for deletion and they don't populate in your drop-down list. We've also added a team responsibility field, which can be visible on the issues page, which is a neat little feature. We've also added back the vendor column on your modules page. So you'll be able to create multiple modules for different vendors. So you'll be able to identify the difference between them. We've also reordered some of the generate scripts page just to make it a little bit more systematic when you're going through and creating your scripts. We've also added the facility column back onto the scripts page with a filter as well. Some of the fixes that went in, we actually fixed a script header detail that wasn't populating with lowercase letters in the actual script name. So we'll go over how to maximize your searches through your script header details later on. We fixed adding a step error to a module. For some reason, during the week, we were doing a training session with one of our clients, and there was an error coming up with when you were creating a module. We fixed the step ordering issue. So when you were generating a module, if you highlighted a bunch of rows, they were populating in different random orders, and now they actually go in the exact order that you have them listed in your module, regardless of which way you select them. We fixed editing a test step and special characters that were automatically being added, so that for some reason they were just adding to your step, and you didn't actually see it on your test step until you went in and did an edit. And we also fixed an issue where the values of your header were actually showing in the name of the header detail and not in the value. So I'll be able to show you some of those fixes. We'll be able to go over the tip of the month, but basically this is going to surround vendors in modules and scripts, and how you can utilize your vendor information and how you can search for your vendor information inside a module and a script, and how you can narrow down your excuse me, your vendor search inside your module and script when you're creating a module and a script. And then the bonus tip of the month is around your script header details. So we'll be reviewing why you see a red color on your header or in your test step, sorry. And then I'll review the best practices in terms of adding your header details, just to eliminate some of the issues that you might have with spelling and linking your header details up to your test steps as well. And then lastly, I'll go over our new TransIT education. So this is a cool little tool that is only visible to our clients. So I will send this link in the chat for everybody, but it is a closed web link, and it will highlight some of the processes and how to do and tips and tricks of TransIT 7 and how you can get the most out of TransIT as well. So videos are always being added. We've got about 8 videos up online at the moment, and more videos get added all the time. So I'll be able to show you that web page in a second. And of course, if you have any suggestions for videos, you can definitely reach out to support. So let's jump into TransIT and go over some of the fixes and tips and tricks for everyone. Does anyone have any questions to start with? Fantastic. All right, so the first question we had was, why do I see this P1 deleted or a deleted word inside any of your values on your issue list? The reason you're seeing that is something has been deleted or removed from your org settings. So if you are seeing this, it's an easy fix. You can just click on your issue, and all you need to do is just reselect your severity and impact. So we'll go and quickly do that. And it will repopulate your priority. So if you are seeing any of those deleted words, it just means that something's been marked for deletion, or it's been removed, or the wording's been changed in your org settings, and you just need to go back and reset some of your items. So I'll quickly show that again for you guys. So you go in, you can just update your severity and your impact, and it will update automatically your priority here. And that's the same if you're seeing it in the impact and severity. You just need to go and select the correct severity impact, and it will update the issue for you. So hopefully not many people will see that. So if you are seeing that and you're having any difficulties, you definitely reach out to support. The other question we had was in relation to a custom reference list. So the custom reference list is mainly for your plans. So when you're creating your custom reference list in your custom columns, you can use this custom reference list settings here. You actually can't mark any of these lists for deletion, but what you can do is go in and reuse the list. So you can actually just right click and click edit, and you can actually just if you're not going to use it now, you can just type whatever you like. But if we wanted to reuse this one, we can just type reuse and hit save. And then that list is now being reused, or it can be reused for any of your plans. And then you can just go in and change the values to anything that you'd like. Any of the values that you do have that you don't like, you can just hit mark for deletion. And then the last question we had was in regards to modules and how do we paste a row into our top section. So if we do have a module here, how do we paste above this first module here? And the way that you would do that is you would need to insert a row above this first row. So you would right click and hit insert row above. And then anything you have copied or pasted, you can copy and paste, and you would hit paste above, just paste it there. So you would see that it's pasted there, and then you would just delete your first row up the top here. so that it's out of the way. That's really the only workaround that we have at the moment for pasting for your first row above. Anything else that you're pasting anywhere in here inside your module, it will paste the line above. So you just have to remember that, if you're cutting and pasting an item, that it will paste above, where in TransIT 6 are pasted below. So you can see here. And then the ability to export a full test round. If we go into our testing area, you will notice here that there is a new icon on your test rounds page that will download your test round. Let's see if this has any data in it. So now you can see it populates the whole test round with all the outcomes, and this one hasn't had any actionable items on it, but it will come up with the new statuses and any notes and who did what on each of the steps. So that icon is right here. And then if you do click into your dashboard, the icon also is over here, so you can download it into two separate spots. The ability to mark roles for deletion. We did have one client in their data conversion have over 250 roles in their org settings. So when you go into your org settings and down to roles, there is now a column for mark for deletion. So anytime you are not using a role or you don't want it to show and populate on your drop-down list, you just click the mark for deletion. It'll still populate in this list here, but when you're in your plans and you're selecting a role, then it won't populate and it won't show in your drop-down list. So that's just a nifty little trick. The team visible field on the issue page, you can now assign teams to an issue. So you'll see a column here called team. The best way to assign a team or where you assign a team is where it's here, team responsible. You can just click in here and then any of your teams. So let's say we wanted the nurse team. We would assign the nurse team here, and then when you go back to your issues page, you will see the nurse team listed here. You can also filter and sort. So if you're looking for issues that are just related to a certain team, you can search down and drill down and look at the different teams and what issues different teams have. You can also use your sort button here as well. And then if you have filters on your page, you can just right click and hit remove filter, and it'll remove all the filters and any of the columns that are sorted and put back your page back to normal. The vendor column on the modules page is being added back in. This is very important because if you have the modules with the same name, they might have a different vendor. So the vendor column is just here. So now you can have your different modules for different vendors. If you're creating modules that way, you can also sort and filter through those modules. So if we just wanted to filter through and look for Cerner modules, we then have all the Cerner modules and it filters everything else out. So that's a nice little added benefit there. We have reordered the columns on the generate scripts page. So when we go to Patty, is it in the, I just hit the add scripts on this one, Patty?
Yeah, so it's under scripts when you do add script.
Yeah.
And then when you give it a name, like whatever you want to call it, and then just click next, add modules, then what we've done is reordered them. So there used to be a column that said describe workflow or something, and it was between position and module, and it's now called action and outcome at the end there. So the idea is, if you know a module that you want to use, then you choose the module. If the module hasn't been developed yet, then you can type in text there what the module is supposed to be and the outcome that you're anticipating from that module. And then it stores it as a placeholder in your test script. Or if you have the exact module you want, but it needs an additional step on the end, or whatever it happens to be, an alert being fired or whatever, then you can type those in as actions and outcomes independently. No, not on the same row. So if you've already entered allergy, enter, and there's something you want to add after, you do a new row, and then you would just type directly in the action and outcome. So it's in a more logical sequence now.
Yeah. And then while we're here, we've also added the facility column so that we can generate. And then the facility column comes through here, and you can also filter on that as well. And then some of the fixes that we had were in relation to the header details on script. So we're right here. So we did have a issue where the value that was in here was showing in the detailed name. That's being fixed as well. Adding a step to a module, I can't recreate, but there was an issue during the week. And then may as well go on to the tips. So the two tips that we've got is one's around vendors and how to search for your vendors. So as you are all aware, we've streamlined the vendor and application in your org settings. So there's no longer that vendor search button, but the way you can search for your vendors, when you go in and you're looking at your modules or your scripts, you can come over here and type in whatever your vendor or application word has in your description, and it will populate all of the associated vendors or applications. So you can see I typed in Cerner, and these last two came up. They don't actually have Cerner listed in them, but they might have them listed in the description. So that's one way that you can use your search area in terms of for vendor and application. The other option that you can do to narrow your search down is when you're adding a module, you can select your vendor here. So these vendors are your list that gets pulled through from your org settings. So if you know this is going to be an all scripts module, you can now just select your all scripts. And then when you're working in that module, only the all scripts applications will show up when you do that search. So when you go in and you add your step, only the all scripts applications will show up in the list here. So that's just an easy way to narrow down. If you don't want to narrow it down, you don't need to select a default vendor. But if you know that there is a default vendor for a specific module, you can then just use that as a default vendor. Does anyone have any questions on that one, or did you want me to show you again? Great. And then the other tip that we have is in relation to adding your header details into a script. It's very easy to add in your details into a script now, but there's a couple of things that we recommend that you do when you're adding in your script header details into your steps. So when you go into your step, the easiest way to add in a header detail is by using your square bracket, and then your list populates that is already in the script details already populate that are already populated in your header details. To narrow that search down, you can actually just start typing any of your any of the name that you're looking for. Name isn't a great example, but if we just type patient, all of the header details that have patient listed in your description, it'll populate. And the best way to do it is just left click and select whichever header detail that you want. So let's do patient type. And then that way it'll come through and it'll pull through correctly. What was actually happening was some clients were typing in patient type like this, and either misspelling it or missing the E on the end. And then what we're finding is that there's header details that aren't correct. So you can see how it's a rose red color. That means that there's an issue with your header detail. So I'm just going to go and delete this one just here. So you can see it's red here. So that means it doesn't have a value, or there's an issue with your header detail. So we're going to look for patient type, and we will type Travis. And once we go back into our script, you will see that the header value populates through, and it's now being removed from red and it's now white. So when you're scrolling through, it's just an easy way to find out which header details have issues with them. And then you can actually see the value after it, which is kind of cool. Anyone have any questions on how to add your header details? So I can show again while you're just looking. So the best way to do it is just start your square bracket and then type whatever description that you have. So we do facility description, and then it will pre-populate here. And we hit save, and then now it's red. It means that we have an issue or we don't have a value. Go back into our script, and then you can see it's populated our value of home, and it's changed the line from red to white. So much easier than compared to TransIT 6 and going back and forth. When you're in your header details, you can filter and sort on your details name, and then any admins can actually default any of your header details to come into all your new scripts. So you can actually go into your script detail names here, and then any that are marked for default selection will come into any of your new scripts that you're creating. So if you're using the same header details over and over and over and over again, patient name, encounter or fin, facility, all that kind of stuff, you can actually mark these as default, and they'll come in every single time when you create a new script, which is kind of cool. And then the last thing that we have for today before any questions is this
can
really
I just
cool
ask,
thing.
can I interrupt for a second? I just want to ask if there's anyone who doesn't know what the difference is between a position and a role, because I'm not sure that everyone is using roles or knows what they are different from what positions are. So would it be helpful if I go over that quickly, or if anyone is not sure, put your hand up, or maybe we'll go over it next time, because I know what happened on the one client site was they added all of the positions to the roles because they didn't understand the difference between them. So no one's put their hand up, so I won't take it. Oh, there. Okay. So somebody does have a question. Okay. So what the roles are designed for are your issues and your plans. So if you want to assign an issue to a group of people, then you build it as a role. So for example, if you wanted to build a group for women's and infants, and you wanted to assign it to women's and infants team, but the team lead for that team was going to be the one to assign it. So then you would build it as a role. Or if you were using TransIT plans and you didn't know who was going to be assigned to an activity, but you knew it was the PathNet team you needed, you would build the PathNet team as a role. So positions are for test steps, and they are the position in whatever system you're in that you want to execute that test step, versus roles, which are for issue management and for assigning activities. So I got one thumbs up, so that's good. But I know it wasn't always clear to everyone what the differences were, which is why we had to give you an ability to delete the roles. But anyway, sorry for interrupting, Travis. I just thought that might be useful for people.
Yep. And then the last thing that we'll show you is our new transit education. And again, I'll pop this link into the chat for everyone. But this is an area where you can go in and review any videos that we've made in terms of education on how to do things in transit. So if we scroll down here, we've got a couple of things here already. So filtering issue list, creating a bookmark inside transit. So that one will go through how to create this bookmark here. So if you're using a common filter all the time, you can actually create a bookmark and it will come up as a green little button here. And then we've got a couple other videos here. There's always more videos that are being added all the time. So if you do have any ideas, any things that you want highlighted, please do let us know, and then we can add it to the list of videos to make. So I've added that into the chat for everyone, so you can definitely review that. That's all I had for today. If anyone had any questions that they had, fire away.
Travis, it's Chelsea Bagley. For the education here.
Hi, Chelsea.
Hi.
Yep.
When do you guys think you're going to be adding more? Specifically in the script building space.
Yeah, so the script building stuff I should have up in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Northern Light took up a lot of my time this week.
Yep. Sorry about that.
With a lot of meetings, a lot of great meetings, and you guys are doing really well getting everything up and running. So the meetings kind of slow down next week. But yeah, the aim is to get as many as we can done in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And get them up, because obviously we don't have the ability to have the guides in Transit 7. So this is a streamline for everybody to be able to, use the functionality on their own time. But if there's something that you need, Chelsea, specifically that isn't listed as a video, I'm more than welcome to go through it with you, and we can include Brian as well, and we can highlight any stuff that you have questions with.
Yeah, no, I just think this will save you guys a little bit of time, because I've had a couple of requests for just refreshers, where some of the team was in it a long time ago, and then maybe a little bit for oncology. And so if you guys have those just refreshers that I can point them to, that might just save full demos. I know you're fully, you guys are great with wanting for helping us through that. But I think these videos will really help and save us all a little bit of time.
How many new people do you have, Chelsea?
It's not necessarily new people. It's just when we did that initial training for everyone, Ange did it. I think we did 15 people. And so we've got about 15 great super users, and just wanting to expand that. So it's a combination of, I know you guys can help us retrain, but then pointing some of those super users who haven't been in it to some of these refreshers as well.
I totally agree. And it would be my suggestion that anyone on this call who's an admin, that you save that video link that Travis put in the chat as a favorite on your desktop or on your bookmark bar, because I think the idea is that going forward, for every one of the transit tabs, there will be good videos available that, if you're the admin and you're not there, that someone will be able to go in and just click whatever tab it's on. So if it was something about modules or whatever, you would click that tab and there'd be a list of features and functions there that should allow people to do all the major pieces of transit with very little assistance.
Will you guys push out like a flash when you put new stuff out, or?
So I think Travis's goal is to add some every week. So
Okay,
I
so
think,
just keep an eye on it.
yeah, like, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there was very specific ones he did first, and it was because we needed them for a training class we were doing. But I think the goal is to make there be, you know, whatever is the most important first. So if you guys send in any suggestions for things you want videos for, then those would get likely rated higher than ones that our team had requested.
Okay.
And Patty, we can also maybe add a list to our newsletter of all new education that's been.
Sure,
published.
good idea. Good idea, Tamara.
And Chelsea, I'm happy to, I'm sure Brian and I can touch base with you and see if we need to run a training session for any of your, any of those new users that need a refresher or anything like that.
Yeah, it's that same group that's been pretty busy this week too. So it's on the bottom of their list as well. But
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah, so
probably
maybe
be
if we
coming.
get through the
Yeah.
next couple of weeks of all the meetings, then we can touch
Yep.
base again.
Yep. Thank you.
No problems. Any other questions? Great. Then it's 12:46, so we'll wrap it up and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.